Hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today's video is going to be how to roam as a support. So support has a different structure than mid, where I did it by the waves. Support, I think their ultimate goal early game is to secure the first dragon. So everything in this video series is going to be all about how to support leading up to the first dragon kill. Something about the mindset. I want to just discuss my mindset as a support and the reason that I think this is the best mindset for a solo queue support. And for all those out there who don't think supports can carry, they can if they are played in the style that I'm going to show you. Supports can actually carry much better than other lanes. I actually think support players can carry games much easier than mid laners, as an example, because I've been playing them a lot, making the last two videos. Anyways, as a support, my mentality is this. I want to create chaos, okay? I want to create chaos because when things get chaotic, it breaks people's routine. So a lot of junglers, they have a very set routine. They start at a buff, they clear a camp, they clear next camp, right? They have everything very plotted out until that first dragon take. So if you create chaos, you mess up their pre-planning. And when that happens, players make mistakes. When players make mistakes, if you are very used to causing the chaos, then you can take advantage of it and you can get a lot of early kills, you can get easy dragons, you can steal buffs, you can do all types of crazy things. Okay, the first section is going to cover how to start. So this is my routine at the beginning of the game. What I do is I take control of a mid lane bush, either dragon or Darkslayer side, and I go check on the state of the buff. If the jungler is at the buff, I harass them, I'll reset it, or I'll even try to steal it, and if they're not there, I will simply try to steal their buff. If the enemy team does collapse on me, then I will get out. So in the following 3 clips, we will review those different scenarios. Okay, so in this clip there is a lot going on. The main point is that if you notice, my jungler, Zephyrs, is going to take his blue buff and then go steal the enemy red buff. The reason he can do that is because I am going to harass the enemy jungler on his blue buff, and I'm going to reset his blue buff multiple times. Another impact of this is if you pay attention to mid lane and the dragon lane, the enemy mid and dragon laners are actually going to rotate to stop me from harassing or stealing the blue buff, and they're going to end up just kind of not having an optimal clear. So here we go, we take the bush, right? And this is an example of me going solo. I'm not even, my Liliana's not even going to come with me, I'm just going to do it myself. This is obviously not possible on all supports, but like Grok, Mina, they have their different pulls. So anyways, I just pull it over the wall, it's reset, notice Elsu has come, and while Elsu's doing that, my Violet gets free clear. She doesn't have to worry about being poked or anything, and she's getting ahead. Same thing with mid, you notice my Liliana is doing fine even though Alice is there. So do I stop my harassment there? No. And then notice my Zephyrs right now is rotating to the enemy red. And see, the Wukong was scared to even start his blue, so he actually did the small camp and did not even do his blue buff. So I reset it again, right? I don't need to wait for him to start it, just pull it over the wall, it's wasting time. I know my Zephyrs is stealing his red, I start to go that way. And then I decide let's check on blue again, and I see that Wukong is now on his blue buff again, trying to do it. And here I was trying to pull it to reset it into that bush, but I was a little too in a hurry because I know it was getting close to punish range. So even there I could have reset it a third time. But anyways, the main point, once again, is my jungler at this point is way ahead. Wukong, ask yourself, what has Wukong got? Wukong has got one small camp, and he shared experience on his blue buff with his support player, okay? My Zephyrs, on the other hand, has got our blue buff, the enemy red buff, and 2 small monster camps. So our Zephyrs is significantly ahead of the enemy Wukong, and then also notice Zephyrs is in a great position to gank. And another thing is my mid laner and my dragon laner both have control of their lane. Their waves are pushing in first, and we also are controlling the river. Okay, when starting out, another option is to start DS side. So this case, I'm going to start DS side. A lot of junglers like to start DS so that they can gank dragon lane right before dragon and at level 4. So here, I sit in the bush, I'm waiting for Elsu because I'm going to try to steal it. I decide to take my S2 so that I have the damage, and I trigger it just in time to steal the buff, right? Here, the Quillen also gets greedy, so I flip him back into Omen since I got level 2 from the buff, and we also get First Blood. So the jungler loses his buff, and our team gets First Blood, already putting us greatly ahead. I know the enemy jungler is dead, The mid, I see the Vera sitting at her tower, so I decide to take the small camp also. Then you're going to see that I put my attention over to blue buff. The reason for that is I know that Quillen knows we stole his red and we're probably in his jungle, so his next spot is he has to go to blue buff. Like, if he doesn't get his blue buff, he's going to be super behind. So anyways, I'm pinging it. You see my team got the Vision Seagull, and notice our Quillen. Once again, we discussed getting your jungler ahead. Our jungler has not been harassed at all. He's just finishing his red side and he's about to go over to blue side. And for this clip, I'm just going to end here and show you that the Elsu is in fact at his blue buff, and if you notice, the Elsu is still level 1, whereas me as the support is almost level 3, and in this case I am not able to steal the blue buff, but I still do harass the Quillen and I make the enemy dragon and mid laner rotate in once again and just kind of waste time. Okay, the first two clips show you when the enemy, I basically caught the jungler at the buff. This time is just going to simply show me actually taking the buff in an uncontested manner. The reason I'm waiting here is I'm waiting to see if the the dragon laner goes, you know, and because sometimes they'll check and people get undisciplined and leave the buff. So sometimes if you wait, they will have been checking it or they will have leashed it, but then they will actually go back to lane and you'll be able to slip in and get the buff. In this case, I don't even think they were checking it to begin with, and I simply slip in here and get this. By the way, in this clip, the main note I actually want to make is the fault of the enemy team. If you notice, my team actually had an argument over going to lane, and we ended up with nobody going to dragon lane. That should have set off alarm bells in the enemy Vera and the Valheim. They should have, as soon as nobody came for the first wave, they should have known that somebody is inside their jungle, and they should have at least gone to check it instead of just sitting there to, like, both of them did not need to push the wave in and then go sit in bushes, right? They definitely should have went to check their jungle. So in this clip, just to say again, the main point is this: you can also get buffs for free, and second is if people don't show up to your lane, just understand they're probably in your team's jungle. In the previous 3 clips, you saw me invade the jungle. In this clip, actually what's going to happen is the enemy team is very set up to defend their jungle, and I'm actually not even able to go check on the buff right away, so you're going to see what I do if I can't get into the jungle. So basically, to start off, I'm going to come out, I'm going to stun Jinnar, and I'm just going to help my mid laner poke him and kind of poke the wave, right? As a support, you want to help your mid win the first wave clear because that lets them roam first, and then also if you can get damage on. So notice I start to go in the jungle, the Virus has been sitting there watching me, the Alice rotates over, Jinnar rotates over. I just kind of go into my jungle just in case anything is happening, like maybe the enemy Kilgraw, who is their jungler, decide to go invade and try to steal. So now I want to go back in to check the buff. I see the Alice, Jinnar mid, and Virus top. I know that I can get in to check, and as I check, I do catch the enemy jungler, the Kilgraw. I see him going over the wall, so I know he's going to blue. So now on the way there, and actually he stopped to do the small camp, I guess, and now he goes over the wall. So anyways, on my way there, I decide once again, I am going to try to kind of catch out Jinnar a little bit. He is kind of too zoned in on getting my Natalia. I get the stun into her stun, and I think the reason he went in is because he thought Alice would, but she actually turned around to go invade our jungle, which we see, and we basically just catch the Tell and the Alice, so I am focusing on the Tell here. Notice her flicker is down. You see the Alice is running away from our Natalia, and I thought the Tell would go away. For some reason, she got greedy and wanted to kill me, and I end up getting the kill on her. I was hoping Elsu would snipe her, but he didn't quite get it off. But so anyways, the main point of this clip was just to show you when the enemies are heavily defending, you can still get value other places. So if you notice, my team is now up 3 kills to none to begin the game. And we also do know that the Kilgraw right now is probably finishing his blue buff and his blue side of the jungle, and the dragon is coming up in the next 13 seconds. But anyways, this is another example of how to start the game as a support. Now that we understand how to start games by harassing the enemy jungler and checking what buff they started, we're going to move on to the next step, which is to control the river. The primary objective of this step is to gain intel on the enemy team so that you can take good team fights. So in the following clips, you will see this being put into practice. Okay, so in this clip, my jungler is actually going to want to invade with me, so this is going to end up being a unique thing. keep in mind in solo queue, you don't know what to expect every game. Every game is going to be different. You need to have really good map awareness, and your teammates are going to have different levels of map awareness. Like in this case, I have no idea why my jungler decided he wanted to invade, because I think he knew that I was going to, so he came along. So instead of just taking the buff, we actually end up clearing this small camp. Saphira does rotate. In this case, I'm willing to take the fight, whereas in the other clips, you'll see me back off. Then we're checking, I see the Seagull starting to be done, so I'm going to challenge it because I know I have my jungler with me. So a big thing out of this clip I want everybody to understand is that in solo queue, you have to be watching your teammates and understanding what they're doing and sync your actions and your decisions with what they're doing. So here, if you notice, I get eyes on the jungler, which I'm super happy about. And I knew at that timing, he's going to be rotating over to his other side of the jungle. So we all knew he started blue because nobody even saw us steal their red. So he should be rotating over to find out his buff was stolen. I'm watching his level. I'm seeing where he's going, right? If I have eyes on the enemy jungler, then he can't be ganking my lanes, right? See, he keeps cutting back because he wants to make it to gank a lane. He wants to go gank Yorn, or he wants to go gank my Vera mid. And anyways, I'm just kind of standing in his way. So if you notice why I call it controlling the river, if you go back, I encourage you all to watch this section multiple times. So watch it, what I'm doing my play, but one time watch it and just look at the mini map. You'll see how much I run up and down the river, how much vision I grab of the enemy team. And the last part of this video you're going to see is we're just going to end up fighting, and we're not going to be able to get dragon because we're in this 3v3 fight. And it would be too risky to get the dragon. But what's going to happen is the enemies finally get greedy, and bam, we get first blood, and then we start to do some more, and we're actually going to end up 3 for 1 here. So then they get the Quillin, right? And then unfortunately, I can't get out of zone, but Yorn is going to clean up the Elsu with a nice ultimate, and we start 3 kills for 1. A great start. No, we can't get dragon because of the way the game started out, but at this point, my team is significantly ahead in gold.